I want to outline one of the biggest mistakes I see most gym owners making in their business, and that is the idea of having scorecard discipline. Now, if you've been in business long enough, or if you've followed this podcast for long enough, you've heard me talk about your business scorecard. It is a series of metrics that are leading indicators to your ideal outcome or vision for your business. So if you want to have 150 members over the next year, you should sign up about 3 members and lose 1 every week to lead to 150 members in about a year, right? I don't know if that math is perfect, but you get the idea. So building a scorecard of your business is absolutely critical because people play harder when they know the score. So every week, if you're looking up at the scorecard and you know that you're off track or you're on track, is going to calibrate the way that you approach your work. If you're falling really far behind, you know to step on the gas pedal. If you've exceeded your goals for the business, then you can coast a little bit and focus on other areas of the business. But without that scorecard in place, you're just going to be drifting around and not having your overly specific approach to your work, which is a huge mistake. You're going to end up wasting a ton of time and a ton of money, and you're putting your employees' careers at risk if you don't nail down this scorecard discipline. So if you've built a scorecard in your business, I'm going to walk you through the laws of the scorecard that you must follow if you want to grow your gym. And I'll tell you, these laws have equated to quarter over quarter, almost every quarter for 4 years to be a net gain of 25 to 30 members in a single location, have taken us from 200 to 500 members in 2 years. These laws work if you follow them. So violate these laws at your own risk, but let's get into it. So the first law of the scorecard is that every metric has an owner. So if you have 10 scorecard items for your leadership team, which is a great number to aim for, every single number needs to be owned by an individual in your business. Ideally, if you have a salesperson, they own all the sales numbers. If you have a marketing person, they own and have full responsibility over the marketing numbers, the lead generation and effectiveness of your marketing cost per lead and all that, so on and so forth. Right? Your terminations should probably be owned by your head trainer because they're in charge of the quality of your product. So the first mistake I make is nobody owns these metrics. So you end up going to the scorecard and it's like, oh, we didn't sign up enough sales. Like, oh, well. And if nobody owns it, there is no ability to change it. You have to challenge your team or yourself to accept full responsibility for the scorecard. Now, that I use that word responsibility very deliberately because responsibility means the ability to respond. And in the scorecard discipline context, if you come across, your sales number being off, you need the ability to respond with a solution. So the first mistake and law of the scorecard is that every number needs an owner that is accepting full responsibility over hitting that goal. Law number 2 in scorecard discipline is the discipline of acting on missed metrics. The discipline of acting on missed metrics. And I say this twice because it's important and most people miss it. When you go through your scorecard, the least effective thing you can do is treat it like a reporting meeting. A reporting meeting is where you read the numbers and you say, oh, shucks, we missed this, we hit this, we missed this, and then you move on. The scorecard is meant to be black or white, right? We don't need to make up stories. The scorecard section of your meetings should be only 5 to 10 minutes long, and it should be as simple as hit or missed. That's it. And if any number that is missed, any metric that is missed, the discipline is in not making up excuses, not spinning stories or providing context or justifying why it's missed. Oh, it's August, so of course we're going to lose a bunch of athletes. Or it was a holiday, so we didn't hit our sales number. The discipline is in treating it like a black or white hit or miss, and every single miss gets dropped into the issue solving portion of the meeting, no matter what. And I'm going to emphasize this, no matter what. The reason is when you start justifying and when you start making excuses like, oh, it was the holiday, oh, it's a slow time of year, that gray area is going to start creeping into all aspects of the scorecard and later in the meeting. And before you know it, you're going to go 5 weeks without hitting your sales number. So even if there is a realistic justification or there is a good reason to miss the metric, you cannot violate this law. You have to have the discipline to move it to the issues list and spend time discussing it, even if you know the answer is just, it was a shitty week, let's do better, we agree on it. The discipline is in dropping it down to the issues list no matter what. So you definitely do not want to miss that law of the scorecard. Law number 3 is measuring activity, not just outcomes. So oftentimes when I have seen other businesses' scorecard and mistakes that I've made in the past are only measuring the lag measures. So having metrics like number of sales made, number of members that we have, or number of terminations that occurred, right? These are completely out of your control, right? When you think about it, you cannot physically take a credit card out of somebody's wallet and sign them up for a gym membership. It is completely out of your control. So while you need those metrics, because they're the only real metrics for, measuring your business, you also need to measure the activity that is being done. So if the lag measure is sales made, what are the activities that are leading measures to achieving that lag outcome? So it could be number of calls made to leads. It could be number of marketing emails sent. It could be number of reactivation messages sent. So what are all of the leading behaviors that lead to a likelihood of an outcome? All right. And so most people make the mistake of only supplying outcomes for their scorecard, but you have to also track the activities, because if you don't track the activities, you also don't know what to adjust when it doesn't work. Now, part 2 of this problem is when you do have the activities and you're hitting and your scorecard looks good, you're hitting all the metrics, but the outcomes aren't there. You also have to spend the time reflecting on maybe the activities are not working. And too many people just say, well, we're doing the thing and it's not working, and they don't take the time to make adjustments. You've got to stay agile in business. The market's changed. A lot of things in the market will change. So you have to be open to pivoting and changing the approach to achieve the outcome. But you've got to have those metrics in order to make those decisions. So if for whatever reason, phone calls stop working for your business and you need to switch to text messaging, you would never know that if you didn't track the activity and the outputs to generate the outcome. So the final law of the scorecard is to adjust the scorecard in conjunction with your business. Now, this is one that a lot of people never think about, but this one hit me like a ton of bricks. So probably 2 years ago, we had the biggest growth year of our time in business. We grew by 100 members, net gain of 100 members in about 6 months. And we came to a point where we were hitting all of our scorecard metrics, but we weren't gaining any members. And it took us a full quarter of just grinding away, hitting the metrics, hitting every single weekly scorecard metric. And then we realized that if our attrition rate was consistently 5% and we were losing 5% of clients, 5% of 100 is 5 people, but 5% of 200, which was our current membership base, was 10 people. So we never adjusted the sales metric that we needed to outpace the attrition as our membership grew. Most people never take the time to zoom out and think about these things, but that's the reminder that I have for you. Adjust your scorecard every single quarter based on a few factors. First, you need to adjust it based on the number of members that you currently have, because that's going to dictate how many members you lose compared to the attrition rate, right? So number 2, which leads me to number 2, is the attrition rate for this quarter. So fitness is a very seasonal business. So your retention and attrition rates are going to fluctuate. For example, it's August 1st today. We're going into the worst time of the year for fitness businesses. So we need to adjust our sales metric based on how many people we lost in August of last year and the year before. All right. That's going to help us forecast what we need to do to grow through August instead of just thinking that it was going to be the same number as last quarter. The last number that you need to reflect on is where you want to go. So how many members you want to have in the beginning of the quarter, and at the end, you subtract how many members you're going to lose. So I'm just going to use round numbers here. So if you want to go from 100 to 200 members in a quarter, and your attrition rate is 5%, you're going to lose 5 members every single month. Okay. So you need to subtract, you're going to net lose 15. So if you want to gain 100, you need to make 115 membership sales to outpace the attrition and to reach your goal. So every quarter, have the discipline to reset your scorecard based on how many members you have, how many members you want to have by the end of the quarter, and how many members you're going to lose. And that number is based on last year in that month. All right. If you follow those 4 rules and maintain that scorecard discipline, your business will grow faster than it ever has before. You will be a better leader. You'll set your team up for the best careers because there's accountability, there's strong leadership, and there's discipline in the most important metrics in your business.